Welcome back to another week of Instigating with Clarkie and Drury, brought to you by our friends at CoolBet Canada, the Listowel Squash Courts, Listowel Vision Care, See the Game, and our friends at Hanover Raceway. Don't miss all the excitement of live harness racing every Saturday, running until September 17th. Post time, always 1:30. Bring the family and come have a great time enjoying the sights and sounds. We bet you'll love it. Visit them at hanoverraceway.com for details on their upcoming events. Very pleased to chat some CFL football today with a great special guest, the voice of Clarkie's Toronto Argos on TSN 1050. Mike Hogan joins us. Mike, how are you?
Why are they not your Toronto Argonauts too?
Yeah, Ryan.
Well, maybe
come on, Ryan.
Is this the episode where someone finally pulls me into CFL fandom? Maybe. And Mike would probably be about the best guy to do so. Let's talk about those Argos, because Mike, it's kind of been West is best so far this CFL season. Not really a beast to be found in the East, though those Argos are leading the Eastern Conference. What's your impression of this early part of the season and how things have gone for the Argos?
I think, pretty well as expected. New coaching staff, aside from the head coach and one of the assistant coaches. A lot of new guys, a lot of veterans back. So there have been some pluses, some minuses. We've had basically 12 to 16 guys on the injured list every week. So we're starting to get healthy again. I think it's a good team right now. I think it's going to be a better team each and every week here on out. Again, injuries notwithstanding.
What do you see in McLeod Bethel Thompson? I'm a fan of his. He reminds me a little bit of Ricky Ray. I don't know if you see that, but I do. But how would you rate him as an Argo quarterback and compare him to a guy who used to play?
Well, he's fifth all time in passing yards already with the Argonauts. Yeah, so he's got some game, and I apologize for my dog Jack upstairs, who whenever I'm on a podcast likes to hog airtime.
They know. They
absolutely know. Mac is a little bit different than Ricky. Ricky was, when you think of him as a quarterback, at least I do, I think of precision, I think of accuracy, the guy who threw the best fade route maybe in the history of the CFL. Mac has a much, much stronger arm than Ricky, but he's not as accurate. I see the comparison because physically they're about the same. Mac may be a little thicker, body type, maybe a few pounds heavier than Ricky. Both 6'3", 6'4" kind of guys. And both like to stand in the pocket and wait, and they will take the hit to make the throw. And, Ricky was like this. Mac is ridiculous like this. They get hit, and you go, oh, he's not getting up. And then it's, boop, he's back up on his feet and in the huddle calling the next play. They both have a high tolerance for pain, obviously, and are more than willing to take that hit to make the big play.
I find he takes a little bit of abuse from fans, but he always seems to get his game in gear eventually. Who is behind him? Tell us the guys behind him. If McLeod ever does get pulled, who is behind McLeod Bethel Thompson on the depth chart?
Well, the only guy really ready to go right now is a guy named Chad Kelly. He's an interesting story for those who don't know. He went to a big U.S. school, then got out of it. If you ever watched the Netflix series Last Chance U, he went to East Mississippi Community College, the school that they focused the first 3 years of the show on. He was a quarterback that just left, but had been an All-American, led them to a couple of national championships, and he went to Ole Miss. And in 2 years, he was all SEC both years and set 25 school passing record. So I don't want to say he's the heir apparent, but right now he is. He's the guy that everybody wants a chance to see play, but right now Mac is better than he is. So, you roll with the guy who's there, guy who took them to the Eastern Final, and a guy who's got a hell of a lot of ability himself in McLeod Bethel Thompson. But Chad Kelly is the guy right now, and we just picked up a kid who had played at a smaller school and is our QB3 right now. He's been here for about a week. Ben he's like Chad. He's from the Western New York area. Chad is Jim Kelly's nephew, for those who don't know. So there are a couple of guys. Ben's from Orchard Park. Chad's from Buffalo, just outside of one of the suburbs as well. So he'd be our QB2, but right now Mac's our QB1, and everybody's more than happy to roll with him.
Jim Kelly, a guy that could certainly sling the ball around and unfortunately just couldn't get over the hump with those great Buffalo teams. Speaking of great teams, the Argos went through a few ups and downs, especially in the late 2010s, and then they've won some titles mixed in there as well. And it seems like they're starting to really find a level of consistency again, where they're consistently one of, if not the best team in the East over the last little while. What would you say this year is their biggest strength that they have going for them in terms of chasing another CFL title? And what's their biggest weakness that might hold them back from doing that, Mike?
I think right now the defense is ahead of the offense. We've got a really good secondary. And you think of linebackers being three linebackers and guys in the secondary behind them, front four. In the CFL, there are essentially two linebackers because the third linebacker is, for all intents and purposes, another defensive back. So our two linebackers, Enoch Mwamba and Wynton McManus, are spectacular. McManus is one of the most underrated players in the league. I knew he was good. I didn't know he was this good until he came to Toronto. We get to see him game in and game out. Front four is good as well. The receiving core is deep. We've got Andrew Harris at running back, who's spectacular. If there is a weakness, it might be the offensive line, just because it's been so banged up. I think last game we held it together with duct tape and staples and a little Elmer's glue because they were so banged up. Guys playing out of position, rookies in there. So I expect that group to be better as guys start getting back off the injured list. But right now, if there would be a concern of all of the groups, it might be the offensive line. But the pieces are certainly in place for it to be a really good unit.
The schedule is really bizarre here for the next 5 games. I guess 4 more now. They played the Ticats 4 to the next 5 weeks, or 4 out of 5 weeks. I was down there on Saturday night, as you know. I was a little bit of a snob with the Argos for a while because I didn't like that they took the boat logo away, and I was sort of boycotting the team for a while. But I'm back, and I like the fact that the boat is back as well. It was a fun atmosphere. I don't know how many people were there, Mike, but I was in the end zone. My daughter and her boyfriend has season tickets, so I was there with them. And it was just a fun atmosphere, like stomping the feet. It gets really loud in there, at least where I was. I don't know what it's like up in the booth, but it's a real fun atmosphere, isn't it?
We were accused by Hamilton fans this week of pumping in crowd noise.
Yeah.
I'm not making that up. The place gets loud. If you have never been to BMO for either an Argo or a TSC game, awesome. The roof holds in the noise. Mm-hmm. So it's really loud in there. We had, right now we're at about 12,000. I think we'll have more than that certainly for the next couple of games with CNE in there. But the crowd is getting bigger. The people who are going are having a blast. Yeah. We're finding that from our company standpoint, the team standpoint, we're really going after young people because, the average, the old joke is the average age of a CFL fan is dead, right? We've got to get a younger fan base. We know that.
And I was happy to see there were a lot of young fans there, which was great. There was a lot of guys like me, of course, with their boat logo T-shirts on like I did, but there was a lot of younger people, and they were having a good time.
And I know in the next game, next couple of games, we've got a lot of youth football groups coming in from Oshawa, Peterborough, Burlington. Like, we're really running the gamut, the locals as well. We know that's imperative. I spoke to a group of 50 to 75 young kids last game before the game who had never been to a football game before. Wow. I asked how many know about the NFL, let alone the CFL, and like 2 hands went up. So I was telling them kind of, okay, you'll see 2 guys with sticks. They're 10 yards apart. The goal is to go from the one stick to the next stick in 3 tries, really breaking it down to the absolute bare essence of the game. But that's what we have to do in a metropolitan area like Toronto, where it's a really multicultural city. We've got to get kids in who have never seen a football game before. We've got to get kids in under the age of 40, under 30, under 20, under 10, who, like us, Clarkie, grew up with the game. Yeah. you grew up closer to town here. I grew up in Kingston, loving every sport, but always a big passion of mine was the Argos. And I never understood why people in this market, when I moved here, didn't get it, because it's such a good product. And you had fun. You've got, younger folks in your family now going to the game as well. And that's the next generation that we have to keep having fun. And I think if people give it a chance, they really will have a good time at an Argos game.
Ryan, when are we going to go? Like, they play Hamilton in what, 2 weeks? The 28th, what is it? Oh, I'm away that day.
Yeah, we're here. We're in Hamilton, and we got 2 games. I don't even know the dates.
Yeah, the Calgary
and then Hamilton.
And it's during the CNE, right? Yeah.
Yes.
You get in free.
You're into the CNE.
Let's go, Ryan. Let's buck up here and let's get going.
I'd be more than happy to go. I haven't been to an Argos game in got to be 10 years at least.
Well,
I was in college. I'll do it. Let's go. And Mike, you mentioned how important that is. And it's not just in Toronto. It's really league-wide. And the CFL has had a lot of challenges, maybe more so than most sports organizations through the pandemic. They were really, really hit hard by this. And, they're coming out of it, and most of the big markets are doing very well, still very healthy, but not just Toronto, the whole league. What, in your impression, needs to happen over the next few years, the next decade plus, really, to capture young people across the country to be as passionate as you guys are, and how maybe I might be soon, about the whole league?
I think we've really got to continue focusing on upping the entertainment level on the field first. A lot of rule changes made this year to increase the offense, and I think the average game is up 6 points this year. So that we're seeing more offense, which is the key. I think people who are diehard football fans sometimes can fall in love with a 9-6 football game because they appreciate the good defense, right? But the average fan wants to see the ball in the end zone. They want to see the ball in the air being caught. They want to see big catches and big plays and kick returns and block punts and all of that fun stuff, which we had all of last week. And we need to continue to do that. Especially for a Hamilton game, where you've got the rivalry and you got fans down from Hamilton. So there's always cheering. And the great thing is, I think the Hamilton fans who go are loud, and it kind of gives the Argo fans a little bit of, okay, if they're going to be loud, we're going to be louder than they are.
Yeah.
So that adds to it as well. A Hamilton-Toronto game, if you want to go to your first game, go to the Hamilton game.
Yeah, let's go Labor Day.
Yeah.
Let's go Labor Day.
Go both. See both. See the game in Toronto.
Yep.
And then go to Hamilton and compare the two.
Yeah.
The game in Hamilton, the Labor Day Classic is among the great sporting events in the country. Yeah. Not only here, but out west in the 2 markets that they play out there. They have in Calgary and in Saskatchewan. They have great rivalry games, and the fans get into it. The players get into it. There's so much trash talking that week. And for a lot of fans, that's the one game. If they don't have the financial wherewithal to go to every game, they're going to go to the Labor Day game if they're in those markets. So those are a lot of fun, and it brings out not only the diehards but the casuals as well.
You mentioned the entertainment value on the field, and I tell you what, on Saturday night and last Saturday night when I was at the game, the one thing that I was so thrilled about throughout the game was there weren't a lot of penalties, because I've gone to some CFL games and flag after flag after flag drives me crazy. I'm sure there's probably holding on nearly every play, but unless they're obvious, just let it go. But I remember, I think it was the second quarter, the first flag flew, and I'm oh yeah, they called penalties in this game, which was great because I hadn't noticed it up to then.
And in a Hamilton-Toronto game, you expect 30 penalties.
Which, you know what? And the misconduct penalties, okay, they're going to come in those. But I just hate the holdings and all that stuff. And sometimes I swear when I'm watching it on TV, every play they're offside. Because of the motion, it looks like that guy was 3 yards downfield before the ball was moved. But whatever.
And the other thing that leads to that optical illusion, in the CFL, and they've kind of, when we were growing up, you had to be a yard behind the line of scrimmage when the ball was snapped. And then the guys were in motion, so they moved it up, and you can be on the line of scrimmage because technically you're supposed to have 7 guys on the line of scrimmage, right? The 5 on the interior line, and then you cover up each end. But now they've allowed the player, if he's on the line of scrimmage, if his front foot is over the line of scrimmage but hasn't hit the ground yet.
Really?
Like, you can be in motion, and if your foot is over the line of scrimmage but hasn't hit the ground yet, you're onside.
Wow.
Which I don't think most people know, but
I didn't know.
That adds to the optical illusion where you can technically be a foot and a half, 2 feet offside, depending on how long your stride is and where your plant foot is. If you time it up perfectly. And sometimes you'll see that where the guy will be a little bit early and he'll kind of jump forward at the last second because he's still not offside. So,
like a stutter step sort of thing.
Yeah, like the Euro step in basketball, they'll pull that off. And you know, it just, but it adds to the motion, it adds to the speed of the game, where you can have a guy who maybe not in the NFL because he runs a 4.6 instead of a 4.5, and when you're at full speed, all of a sudden you're a 4.4 guy for 40 yards. So that's another reason where the speed of the game, I think, is underappreciated by a lot of Canadian fans, especially in the Toronto area, because they don't realize that, the game is faster than the NFL.
You know, when we both worked at the Fan, we used to have a lot of Argos come in, current and former. Are the alumni guys still around? Like, I remember guys like Lance Chomick and guys like that. Are they still involved?
Coming back, the Alumni Association wasn't great a few years ago. And we had the alumni annual reunion about 2 weeks ago. Chomick was there, Kelly Wiltshire was there, Andre Talbot was there, Matt Black was there, who's still working with the organization. So we were seeing the younger guys to mix with the usuals, the Pete Martins, and Gene Mack was there, Granny Liggins was there, Chomick. I mean, it's a real cross-section of players, and boy, it's so neat to work for the organization and get to know the guys. That, you know, when you were bringing in guys, you brought in Granny Liggins, and I'm going, that's Granny Liggins. How cool is that? And to see him still coming out to alumni games, that's really cool for me.
And one guy who we tried to catch up with you when it happened, but the late Chris Schultz. It's going to choke me up even saying it, Hoagie, but
he's right here behind me.
What a loss, eh?
I got his football card here. And can I share the story? And if I don't start crying on this one, it'll be a miracle, because they were nice enough to have me give one of the eulogies at the funeral. So everybody got a Schultz card and a little package and you'll get this, Sharpies, because Schultz wrote everything down in Sharpie. I don't think he knew how to type. He wrote everything handwritten. And when it was over, his sister Monica came up and said that was the Sharpie on his desk.
Wow.
So that one's not going anywhere. So that's attached to the card. Schultz was awesome. He became a longtime broadcast partner, and then Clarkie's the guy that set me up with him first when he was still playing. And then when he retired, Lance Chomick had been doing Football Sunday with me. Lance went over to Talk 640 to become the color voice of the Argos, and that left a pretty big opening, and we got a pretty big guy to come in and fill it. Schultz was the best. He taught me. He and Pete Martin are my mentors in football. And it was a tough one. So we ended up doing the Football Friday/Sunday show for 15 or 16 years, and then we had been reunited for a couple of years on TSN radio for the last couple of years of his life as a color voice with me on Argo Radio. And boy, that made him happy. He felt like he was a part of the team again, as opposed to being, at arm's length working for TSN. So, no, that was great. That was a big loss, but Schultz, he was an interesting dude in a lot of ways, and I love the guy and I miss the guy.
He was the best. We're chatting with Mike Hogan, the voice of the Toronto Argos on TSN 1050. Yeah, you'd probably be hard pressed to find a broadcaster that taught fans in this country more about football south of the border and our game here than Chris Schultz. I mean, long live Risky Business, man. I used to love that segment that he did. It was absolutely the best. And he was such a cool guy, and just a monster of a man, and a tremendous broadcaster too.
Yeah, the thing that he did as well as anybody, I've been lucky, both at the CFL and U Sports level, to work with some incredibly great football minds. What Schultz did as well as anybody was he would look at a play, and he would immediately know why it worked or didn't work. And he would be able to not only find that little nugget, but he'd be able to break it down in 15 seconds and do it so the layman could understand it, which sounds pretty easy. It ain't. And Schulte was able to do that. Just go, oh, right guard missed his block. And then he'd be able to say in 15 seconds, hey, that play didn't work because this guy did this. He was supposed to kind of go over and help out in the middle, but he didn't, which allowed a lane for the guy to come through and hit the quarterback. If you wanted to go deep dive with him, which sometimes we do in the pre or post game show, he'd start talking about A gaps, so slide protection, or why something didn't work, or why the guy shouldn't have run a dig route at 6 yards, it should have been at 9. He could get into that if you wanted to trade with him there. But he was an everyman who wasn't an everyman, if that makes any sense at all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a hard thing to do. A lot of moving pieces, especially in football. And, for everybody out there that says to themselves, oh, that's easy, I could do that. I mean, we're fellow play-by-play guys here. I do OHL hockey and no, you couldn't. Get in front of a microphone. I don't think you could. And even if you could.
Disagree. I think anybody can do play-by-play with colored markers and Scotch tape.
Sure. Absolutely. Of course they could.
Secret for me, anyway. If you color code everything and tape it up on the wall, bingo. Anybody can do play-by-play.
One thing to remember it all for sure. I want to ask you, Mike, as well, just about some other notable stories in the league. And of course, we've got to talk about Winnipeg, who remain undefeated as we speak, 9-0. I laid some cheddar down on a bet at the start of the season with our friends at Cool Bet that they might go undefeated. It's a tall task. Do you think they could do it?
No. And that's no disrespect. I've got a lot of Michael Shea, love him. Jordan Younger, Zach Collaros. Like, there's so many guys out there that I just think the world of. But it's so hard to go undefeated. Let's look at it this way. Winnipeg would have, could have, should have lost to Ottawa. Would have, could have, should have lost to Ottawa the second time they played. Ottawa's got one win this year. I don't want to mention who it was against, but they've got one win this year. They didn't go to overtime against us because we missed an extra point on the last play of the game. The only extra point that Boris Beattie has missed as an Argo. So, I mean, they have had a lot of really good things going for them. They also play in a very tough division, as you mentioned off the top. They've got BC out there. The Nathan Rourke story is great. Saskatchewan, when they get healthy, are going to be a little bit better. Certainly Calgary is really good. They're lucky they don't have us again. But they've got a really tough schedule. And I really don't think the league is, Ottawa's got one win. They're not a one-win team in terms of talent.
I agree.
Before the season, I said no team's going to go 14-4. No team's going to go 4-14. I just saw so much parity in the league this year. Winnipeg's going to prove me wrong, and I still think Ottawa's got a handful of wins left in them. So we'll see how it pans out. But Winnipeg's still the favorite. I still think they're the best team in the league, but I don't think they're as good as they were a year ago with some of the losses that they've had in terms of personnel. And it's so hard to win in this league. So you got to be good. You got to be lucky. They're good. They've been lucky.
Hoagie, not only are you the play-by-play guy for the Argos, but you're also the manager of communications. And you know what? When I heard you were named the manager of communications, I thought, what a perfect match, because you were CFL, you were Argos. How are you enjoying your role there?
Come on, dream job. When you were working with the Leafs, what that was like for you. Same thing for me. I was actually trying to get a job in football for the last few years of my radio career. Radio was done with me. I think I was done with radio in terms of hosting a talk show. I haven't watched, they'll hate me down at Bay Street for this. I haven't watched a full Leaf game since I left. I haven't watched an inning of Blue Jay baseball since I left because I had to watch it or at least get a highlight for 25 years. Yeah. So now I watch what I want. I'll watch the Raps. I'll watch some golf. I'll watch CFL, NFL, some college football on both sides of the border. I'm very selective of what I watch because I was frankly getting burned out. Me, my NHL team was Carolina. I can't get into. They've got a great team. They made a good playoff run last year. They were playing exciting games. Just the passion is gone. I don't know where it went. And maybe because I am working again in sports, 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. It seems like during the season, It's a job I love, and working for the people. I mean, come on, I'm working for Pinball Clemens.
Yeah.
Come on, everybody should work for a guy like that for a day. I get to do it every day.
Yeah.
The hugs and the high fives and the pep talks when you need them, and he's the real deal.
Yeah.
It ain't so bad. It could be worse, couldn't it? I want to ask you as well.
That's
Well,
right.
yeah, hey, that's not so bad. I mean, that might be one of the worst aspects. Who knows? But I want to ask you as well quickly just about another team that used to be a perennial powerhouse. Montreal, what's wrong there? I mean, is it just as simple as they can't replace Anthony Calvillo still? Like, is it really that simple, or do the problems there run deeper? Like, what has happened there, Mike?
I don't think, since I work for the Argos, it's appropriate for me to talk about all the problems in Montreal. They've had some injuries too. No, it's just, we don't have a perfect thing going in Toronto right now. And I don't know if I'd like somebody from Montreal saying their attendance is bad because. So, I want to talk about that. It makes me uncomfortable. I will say that I think they've got a pretty good team. Again, when Vernon Adams went down, it kind of changed what they wanted to do. I think the most difficult thing you can do in pro sports is change your head coach in midseason. Because in basketball, it's a lot easier because you can implement everything you want to do pretty quickly. In hockey, you can implement what you want to do pretty quickly. In football, it's just so much, the 600 playbook kind of thing. It's really difficult to do. So Danny's a good football guy, Danny Machocha. I'm sure he'll get things going the way that he wants. But right now, he's kind of coaching somebody else's team, if that makes any sense. Even though he was the general manager, Kahari Jones was the head coach and kind of had a big say in personnel, obviously. So that's a tough situation for any team. And I'm not just saying it would be tough for us to do that in midseason. It would be tough for any team in the NFL. Midseason coaching changes in football usually don't work.
Yeah, it's a hell of a thing to try and overhaul. Final one from me, Mike. I did see that a video went pretty viral recently of Chad Ochocinco, formerly Chad Johnson, talking about the CFL. And when he came up and was kind of, trying to maybe get involved and keep his football career going, he was saying, I went up there ignorant, thinking, it'll be simple. I was in the NFL. I was a star. I can run circles around these guys. And he basically said in his video, I was completely wrong. Just about every single guy up there is good enough to be in the NFL. And I was blown away by the talent level. Is that maybe something that the CFL should be tweeting out and sharing that? Because he is a really good player. And, Russell Wilson, we know he's a huge CFL fan too. Like, guys in the NFL have a lot of respect for this league. It's a different game. There are lots of differences. You went over some of them. I mean, that's got to, make people involved in the CFL and people like yourself feel pretty good.
Well, it does, and it does because we've known this forever. Everybody says, well, Tom Brady's in the NFL. Okay, the difference between Tom Brady and most NFL quarterbacks is substantial, right?
Yeah.
It just is.
But you go back to the Warren Moons and Joe Theismann's,
Sure.
They've had success in both places, right?
Yeah, the difference between, let's say, the number 2 or 3 receiver for most teams, elite players are elite players.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between our number 1 guys and their number 2 or 3 or 4 guys is pretty razor thin. And there might be some reason. Like I said before, a guy runs a 4.6 instead of a 4.5. A guy might not be the most pristine route runner. A guy may have had a drop in practice. A guy may have not been a draft pick, but was a free agent. And we found out in the NFL a lot that the general manager will keep a guy who's a little bit worse, who he drafted, than one of the free agents they bring in, because it makes his draft record look better. So we've seen that happen a lot of times. Guys will come up. They're so close. Guys have been in the NFL. Guys have been all SEC. We got Shane Ray up there, first-round draft pick in the NFL, all SEC, defensive player of the year in the SEC, Super Bowl with Denver. He isn't a guy who's blowing everybody away in the CFL. He's a really good player, but the argument I hear is, if that guy went up to the CFL, he'd rush for 4,000 yards. I think Ricky Williams averaged 65 or 70 yards a game rushing the football. Johnny Manziel sucked. He was terrible up here. And you know, the younger fans, especially who are into the NCAA, say, oh, anybody who played in the NCAA would come up here and dominate. If you watch Michigan play Ohio State, I just pulled two big programs out of the hat. 95% of the guys on that field would not even get an invite to a CFL training camp. And yet people will watch that. The football's not as good. And it's 19-year-olds as opposed to 28-year-olds who have played in the NFL, who are, you know, the majority of guys up here. Half of our roster has been in the NFL at some point, whether it be for a few years or a few minutes. They've got an NFL experience on their CV. So that's part of the problem in Toronto. People don't understand how good the game is. And to hear Chad Johnson, maybe that'll at least give people a reason to go, well, maybe.
Yeah. And it's just a different game, right? Like, remember Vince Ferragamo?
Yeah.
He was a star of the NFL.
We've got an offensive lineman.
Wasn't here.
I'll use this. Offensive lineman named Dejon Allen. He's from Compton. He went to University of Hawaii. Think about this. An offensive lineman 2 years in a row was named most outstanding offensive player. Not the quarterback, not the running back, not the wide receiver, the offensive lineman. He went down, he was with 2 or 3 NFL teams, and he's only 300 pounds. He's 6'2", 300 pounds, 6'1". He's not big enough to play tackle. So he comes up here, he's a perfect size to play in the CFL. Technique-wise, he's phenomenal. But because he wasn't a little bit bigger, he's not in the NFL. And, you know, guys will come up here from the NFL, especially defensive linemen, and they'll come up here the first year at, 295, and the next year they'll come up and they're 275 or 260. And it's like, I can't carry that weight and play at this game. It's too fast. So different body types, different players. They're both great games. I'm not knocking the NFL because you know me, Clarky. I love the NFL as much as I love the CFL. And it's just sometimes there are different body types for different leagues.
When you say that, I chuckle because I had the great opportunity back in the, I guess it was mid-'90s or late '90s to attend a CFL hockey tournament in somewhere in Manitoba, the Paw or somewhere, and I played goal for the Ticats. And I went out one night
Hang on, for dinner. The Ticats?
Yes, I played goal for the Ticats. Well, it was what's his name, Normie Miller, right? Norm Miller asked me to come. Okay. So I played goal for the Ticats in the tournament. We lost. Pierre Verchevel scored on me in overtime. The Argos beat us to eliminate us. So I went in. Yeah. Anyway, but I went out for dinner. Well, we went out for fast food one night with a couple of linemen. Dave Richardson was one of them. I don't remember the other guy's name, but Dave was a big guy. And literally, we went to KFC, and he ordered a bucket of chicken. And I thought, okay, he's going to share it. No, that was for him.
Yeah.
Like he polished off a whole bucket of chicken. But that was the good old days. Like Flutie played, and Wally's at Tilney, and all those guys. It was a fun time.
We had a guy named Jerry Crafts, whose goal was to play nonstop for 5 years and then retire. He played NFL, CFL, XFL, Arena League. He played. And when he came up here, he was 4 bills. He was 400 pounds. He was an offensive lineman. And we were on a bus once, and the lineman, we were going from the airport to the hotel, and some of the veteran linemen were saying, we're going to go here for the all-you-can-eat sushi. Who's in? And I'm sitting next to Jerry. And I said, you ever go to one of those all-you-can-eat steak places? And he goes, oh, yeah, that's, or you can, if you eat a 52-ounce steak, you get it for free. He goes, are you kidding? When I was in college, I lived on those things. And somebody said, what's the most steak you've ever eaten in one serving? And he said 125 ounces.
Oh, wow. God, that's pretty big.
That's like what, 7, 8 pounds? Like,
that's crazy. That is crazy.
So
it's the entire back half of a cow.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
But
oh my goodness.
Yeah. They're wired differently.
Yeah. Before we let you go, this Friday or when this show airs today in Hamilton, then next Saturday hosting Calgary at BMO the week after. hosting the Ticats on the Friday, and then, of course, the Labor Day game on the 5th. So, Ryan, we got to get to one or two of those.
Let's go. Let's do it. I can't wait to go. Like I said, I haven't been to one in a really long time, and now you guys have got me excited. You've dragged me in. I want to go. I want to check this out.
Time.
Absolutely, and I hope others, like you said, might kind of latch onto that too. It's a myth that these guys and our game up here isn't as good as the one down south. It's just not true, and we really appreciate you.
Yeah, and I know it's a bit of a hike for you guys, but just, if folks who are watching are thinking of going to the CNE, like, combine the two. If you buy an Argos ticket, you get free admission into the CNE. It's one of the great deals in Toronto sports. When I know, inflation's kind of hitting us all anytime you fill up the gas tank, particularly. So every little bit helps. So if you were going to go to the CFL, to the CNE anyways, combine it with an Argo game and come out and see if you like it. If you do, great. If you don't, great. But at least go in with an open mind and see if you're entertained.
Yeah.
100%. Well, we look forward to seeing you down there. We'll be down there soon. It's a guarantee. We're going, Clarky. Mike Hogan, the voice of the Argos on TSN 1050. We really appreciate this, man. Looking forward to have you on again.
A lot of fun. Can't wait to see you guys down there.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Clarky and I have a lot to talk about still, including the Blue Jays. They're shuffling along, aren't they? But they're in some trouble now due to an AL East opponent that I don't think many people saw coming. We'll talk about that next here on Instigating. Welcome back to Instigating with Clarky and Drury, brought to you by our friends at Coolbet Canada. Thanks again to Mike Hogan of TSN 1050 and the communications manager for the Toronto Argonauts. What a beauty, Clarky. That guy was the best. We got to have him on again soon.
Yeah, we'll have him on for sure. There's so many stories we could share about the former players and everything too. If maybe people don't care about that stuff, but I do, and there's a lot of great stories. But I got another story. So I was telling you that I was with my daughter Amanda and her boyfriend Dan at the game last week, and I said to Dan and Amanda, I said, why don't we go to the Labor Day Classic? Like, it's fun to be at, right? And they sort of agreed. And then this week Amanda comes to me and she says, Dad, I don't think Dan's going to go to the game at Labor Day. And I said, why not? And he goes, well, sometimes he can be a little boisterous and he's afraid he's going to get in a fight. So Ryan, you got to take his place. Let's go to the Labor Day Classic. Unfortunately,
I will go. I'm not boisterous at all.
I would definitely go to the game on the 26th, but I'm going to be sitting watching Lionel that night, so I can't go to the game on the 26th. Oh my
God!
So it's got to be Labor Day, and then we'll go to a playoff game. We'll go to a playoff game.
Let's go.
Okay.
I'm completely down.
I'll work on the tickets.
Mark me down. We're going. You just let me know, and I'll fire some cash your way. Let's do it. I would love to go.
Okay.
I haven't
it's like
been.
$40. Like Dan pays.
Let's go.
Dan pays like $200 for season tickets.
That's insane,
right?
That's insane. Jeez, if I have a good time, maybe I'll get season tickets next year. I don't know.
There you go.
We could split on them and just go every week. Why not?
The biggest thing I don't like is not knowing when they play. Like, it's Friday, it's Thursday, it's Saturday. It's when I love to watch an Argo game? Sunday nights in the summer. I'm home.
That's good.
The weekend's done. I like watching on TV. I don't know if they'll get much of a crowd on a Sunday night, but that's the night I'd like to see them move to in the future, but we'll see. Anyway,
we will see.
The facility down there, like BMO, is a great facility. They have the best field
world class
in the CFL, right?
World class.
I'm pretty sure it's the only grass field in the CFL now. So
I believe you're right.
Yeah.
Anyway, no.
Yeah.
Heck of a thing. Speaking of a team that doesn't play on an all grass field, the Blue Jays. They're shuffling around, aren't they? But boy, another bird is coming up on their tail here. Geez, the Baltimore Orioles are starting to become the story of the baseball season, in my opinion. I mean, we're talking about a team here that has been languishing since 2016, the last time they made a wild card appearance. We all know what happened that day. Edwin Encarnacion took the Parrot for a ride.
Yeah.
And since then, they have not sniffed the playoffs. There were guys, including, I'm sure, with our friends at Coolbet, there were a lot of sites out there putting out like over under 65 wins, 62.5 wins for the Orioles. They're going to sail by that as we record this. They got 57 wins. They're 57-52, I believe, right now. And they are just 2 games back of the Blue Jays, who still retain that first wild card spot. And boy, Blue Jays Nation, Clarky, we might all be, thanking our lucky stars that there's an extra wild card team now.
Yeah, for sure. And, that's two teams you thought would be at the opposite end of the standings at the end of the season, with the Jays at the one end and the Orioles at the other. And how they're doing it, well, I'll tell you, they have some pitching in the bullpen who can throw over 100 miles an hour. And that seems to make a difference at times. And, I go back, I can't remember the manager for the Orioles' name. What's his name? Do you know?
Are you talking about Brandon Hyde?
Yeah. Remember last year with Robbie Ray and him going back? Like, he's a feisty manager.
I
right?
remember.
I think Schneider has that feistiness in him too, but I think the honeymoon's over. Like, they came out of the box pretty good with after firing Charlie, but now they're scuffling along once again. Rain got them on Wednesday night, but I guess a doubleheader is coming up in the future. But yeah, they got to get their act in gear, right? They have to get her going and make a little run. Like, the Yankees lost a few games in a row. Not that they're ever going to catch the Yankees, like that's a pipe dream, but they got to keep that first wild card spot and get home field advantage, right? Because all the games are at the one park. There's no going back and forth for that first round.
Yeah, and especially the interesting story, of course, is Seattle for them, right? Because if Seattle ends up with the first wild card spot, and you go to Seattle, no big deal, and Seattle's got home field advantage. Robbie Ray is not vaccinated, so if Toronto hosts the Mariners, could be a sticky situation for 3 games. Now the Mariners still have Logan Gilbert and Luis Castillo, but if it comes down to a third game, you never know here. And the frustrating thing, they can't catch the Yankees. Well, what if they were playing a little better and had a better bullpen and Yusei Kikuchi didn't exist, which he basically doesn't for a majority of his pitches.
What do you
anyway.
think the deal is? What is the deal with this guy? Did this guy have a no movement clause? Like, you can't send me to the minors? Because I don't understand why this guy hasn't been.
Well, he went to the minors. He went to the minors for 2 games.
Why isn't he there now?
I don't know, because without Ryu and with Stripling hurt, they essentially need him.
But
Manoah's getting tired.
That is my point exactly. If they need this guy,
they spent $12 million on a bust.
Yeah,
that's what he is.
Yeah.
He has not pitched really well one single time. He's pitched.
He gives up more home runs than a slow pitch guy would.
Well, and then you look at then you've got Barrios, who's got over a 7.30 ERA on the road.
Yeah, and
has given up 24 home runs.
His splits are very bizarre. I don't understand it. Because the Skydome isn't a pitcher's haven. You know what I'm saying? But how can he pitch so well? How can he pitch so well at home and not well at all on the road? I don't get it. I don't understand.
I don't get it either. Kikuchi cannot be on this roster next year. No. They got to do whatever they can to just get rid of him and cut ties. The experiment didn't work. It's blown up in their face, if anything. And if they miss the playoffs, God forbid, by 1 or 2 or 3 games like they did last year, missing by 1, what are we all going to do? We're all going to look back and go, well, what if Kikuchi wasn't on the hill for this start? What if, Ryu earlier in the year wasn't on the hill for this start and they went and got a Montas? And I know Frankie Montas got lit up in his first start for the Yankees. Frankie Montas is going to be fine. What if they went and got Luis Castillo or Tyler Mahle or whatever? And I'm sick and tired of the excuses being made for this front office. Well, they made all these great moves in the offseason. Yeah, that was the offseason. The reality of now has nothing to do with April.
They haven't fixed anything.
No, they haven't. And I like Anthony Bass, and I like Zach Pop. I think they're pretty good pitchers. They don't scare me coming out of the bullpen. Right. You know who scares me? Michael King.
Yeah. The guy for Baltimore. Sorry, I'm not sure of his name, but the new closer for Baltimore.
Well, in Baltimore, Baltimore is doing what they're doing, by the way, without who I would argue is their best player, and that's John Means, who had Tommy John. Mm-hmm. Their best pitcher's not pitching for them. Now, they've got some good young talent. I don't know what Ryan Mountcastle does in terms of scouting the Blue Jays. He destroys the Blue Jays. This Adley Rutschman kid at catcher is he's already a superstar. He's going to be a freak going forward. We'll see if that ownership group keeps them together. I'm just frustrated because the Yankees are now 15-20 since the middle of June. And what if the Jays, were 60% better, 70% better? Maybe the Yankees lead is 6 or 7.5 games. Not insurmountable. I don't know. It's just frustrating, and I'm done with the excuses with the third richest ownership group in the league. This offseason, because they can't fix anything now, this offseason had better be unbelievable. And I know people are going, well, last offseason was unbelievable. Matt Chapman was unbelievable. Signing Kevin Gausman, I mean, if you want to call that unbelievable, he's been very good.
That's not unbelievable.
But it was at the expense of Robbie Ray, though.
Right, exactly.
Nothing really changed.
But Matt Chapman's really, real deal. I like Matt Chapman.
Matt Chapman was
without
the big upgrade. Because to call Kevin Gausman a serious upgrade on Robbie Ray is not true. Robbie Ray won the Cy Young last year.
Right.
But Gausman is very good. The actual legitimate upgrade was Matt Chapman. Absolutely better at third base than Espinal or anybody else they had there.
Yeah.
Matt Chapman
I'm just getting
sick
and tired of Bo Bichette swinging, trying to hit a home run every
Someone's got to sit down
every
with this guy.
pitch. It's like
someone's got to sit down. The Baltimore broadcasters were making fun of him, Clarkie.
Yeah, well,
they were the second game. Right? They were like, "This guy just swings at everything." Yeah. Not what I want to hear out of our star shortstop. He's still young. I get it.
Yeah, he's got to change his approach.
Fix this.
Got to change the approach for sure.
To just hack at everything. My goodness, the balls he goes after in the dirt are just like, oh, come on. I mean, I don't expect everybody to be Mickey Mantle, but for goodness sake, guy. Some consistency would be neat.
He wants to be like his dad, hit 210 and hit 50 home runs. He's not going to happen like his dad, Dante.
No, he's not.
Not going to happen.
Want to mention before we go, one of our great sponsors, of course, Hanover Raceway. This Saturday is part of the Hanover Fair, a huge triple bill free concert going on 6:30 to 1 a.m. at the racetrack. It features Tandem, the Owen Riegling Band, and my friends, the Kara Smith Band. It's all ages. It will be licensed. You can buy food and drink there. Make your way out to the raceway for the 1:30 post time, and stick around for the Hanover Fair.
I spoke to a trainer today. A horse trainer was in buying a car from me today, and he has a horse or horses that he trains, and they race at Hanover and as well as Mohawk. So there you go. Yep,
absolutely.
Good old Eddie.
Before we go as well, and thanks again to Mike Hogan of the Argos for coming on and chatting about the CFL with us. Obviously, some sad news in the hockey world. Of course, we lost Ben Stelter. Everybody in hockey, I'm sure, is familiar with Ben. He captured the hearts of the hockey world and Edmonton Oiler Nation. He essentially, became their unofficial mascot on a great playoff run for the Oilers, all the way to the Western Conference Final. And unfortunately, he's passed away. His parents shared that on social media. So definitely want to send love out to the Stelter family and everybody out there in Edmonton. Play La Bamba, baby, forever for you, Ben. And some sad news in Maple Leafs land as well, Clarkie, one of your heroes from your youth. Borje Salming sharing the extremely unfortunate news that he's been diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, of course, also known as ALS. Just a really tough blow to Clarkie, a guy who, we bring up the term warrior a lot. This guy was a warrior, and now he's in for the fight of his life.
Yeah, Borje was definitely a fan favorite when he was in Toronto. One of the first European players to play in the National Hockey League.
That's right.
He got stepped on by a skate in his face. And I think it was over 150 stitches, and he still has a scar, obviously. But it was a gruesome injury at the time. But he was bounced right back. Like he was a stud back there for the Leafs, and hopefully they can find a cure.
Absolutely. It's a tough blow for sure, but all the hockey world and all of Leafs Nation for sure getting behind Borje for it's just tough news. All right, that's going to do it for us this week.
We didn't talk about the World Juniors.
Well, the World Juniors. What's there to talk about?
The World Juniors is on? What? How many people were at the game? How many people were at the game? 33?
Well, the Austria game, I believe, yesterday or whatever day it was, Wednesday, I think, there were 12 people in the stands.
I think they're playing in the bubble. I don't think they're allowing fans in. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. No. They are. They are allowing fans.
Hockey.
I can't get into
Canada's
it right now. I can't get into it. Maybe once
it just feels weird.
Playoff round, it does feel weird. And like no Shane Wright, no.
Yeah, but I mean, Connor Bedard's there, and
I know.
It's not like there's not stars. Mason McTavish,
yeah.
I just think that a lot of people. I think it's a combination of the summer and also. Yeah. People are not very happy with Hockey Canada right now.
Yeah, but I don't think they're not watching because of that. I would hope not.
I think some are.
Yeah, maybe,
I think some are.
Maybe. But I was actually looking forward to the tournament a month ago, and now I couldn't care less. Maybe I'll get going when the medal round starts.
We're playing World Juniors in the summer and the World Cup of Soccer in the winter. Hooray. It makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We always make sense on this show.
Let's go get our Argo tickets.
You can watch us Friday nights at 8, Sunday nights at 9, and maybe run into us at an Argos game pretty soon here for the Labor Day Classic. You can watch this show every Friday at 8, Sunday night at 9 with our friends on Whiteman TV. That's Channel 6 for Whiteman subscribers. Follow us on social media at Instigating Pod. Our shows debut every Friday night at 9 on our YouTube channel. And ladies and gentlemen, we're on Instagram now. At Instigating Pod, we're on Instagram. We'll be posting clips of the show and whatever else I kind of feel like throwing on there. I lose my temper with sports a lot. I'll throw some stuff up. You never know. We're on Instagram. Follow us there as well. Thanks to all of our great sponsors.
When I'm at the Lionel Richie concert, I'll put a clip up. Little stuck on you.
I'm going to wait to give you the login info after the
fine. I'm going to 3 in the next 4 months, so here we go.
Lionel Overload. Hello?
No such thing. Hello.
Yeah. Was it him you were looking for? I think so. Yeah. You can look for us on all the great socials and on Whiteman TV. We appreciate you guys. This has been another fun week of Instigating. We'll be back again next week.